Josiah, how are you today?
You're doing good. How you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I'm holding my 6 month old here, so if it gets loud, I apologize in the middle of this. Hey, what does it mean to be the open day starter for you tomorrow, considering the last year plus of everything going on in the world and what you guys have had to go through as baseball players?
No, I'm really excited. I think it's a huge honor, to start at the highest level of minor league baseball, be the opening day starter. I think it shows where the organization, what they think of me, and also, what the team thinks of me. So I'm really excited to go out there and, get the season started and take the ball that first night.
What kind of challenge has this last 20 months been?
It's been definitely difficult, even though I was included in just about everything that went on, whether it be the alternate site last year or this year or, the playoff bubble. But it's definitely difficult because you missed that out on that aspect of, just going out and winning ball games and that team aspect of things. So I'm really excited to get back to that. But this last 20 months definitely was not easy. And, I'm really excited that we, made it out of it and we get back to playing ball.
Is there particular challenges for you development wise in that when you're not facing anyone but your own teammates?
Yeah, I think I got caught up a couple times in just trying to like not knowing the difference between development and also competing. So, we had a lot of downtime where we were just facing our guys. So, you obviously want to compete. You don't want to go get hit around the ballpark, but development sort of comes first. But in minor league baseball, development is kind of put on the back burner just because you want to win games, but also you want to prepare for the next level at the big league level where wins are the only thing that matters. So we kind of got away from that, but I'm excited to get back to that and just going out there and putting up a good night for the team and trying to lead us to a win.
Thanks, Josiah.
Thank you.
Next question is from Eric Steven.
Hi, Josiah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Just wondering, at the alternate side, what was it like, facing some of the hitters you face? Some of them are major leaguers. Some of them have since become major leaguers. What was it like, just that experience for you?
Well, I'll relate that to summer camp as well. It was really exciting time because I got to go out there and like you said, face major leaguers and future major leaguers and whatnot. So it was really exciting just to kind of get thrown into that right away and just seeing how my stuff played against them and seeing the things I needed to fine tune. So, that's an experience that any baseball player is gonna, take certain things away from that and try and implement that in their game. So the alternate sites last year, the alternate site this year, they're definitely really beneficial for guys like me to go out there and just compete and play against the best guys available.
When some of the national prospect list comes out, and I think you were number one in 4 or 5 of the Dodgers list, and a close second to Cabert and one or two of the others. Do you pay attention to that stuff? Does that sort of motivate you, or is that just not on your radar?
It would be hard to say it doesn't, strike my interest from time to time, but I truly try not to pay any attention to it. I just want to go out there and, like I said before, just win ball games. And, when I was drafted in 2018, I know I was in the mid 20s and, the next year I think I ascended a little bit. And then at the end of 2019, obviously, I was in the top 5, top 10. But those things I don't really try to get too caught up over because, you can be number one in all of baseball, but if you're not going out there every night and putting up the numbers and, helping your team win, then, that stuff doesn't mean as much. So I understand it and I get it, but I try not to put too much weight on it.
And then one more for me. I know, so you're not on the 40-man roster yet, but is there anything the organization or anyone's told you that you would need to work on to sort of get on that radar to be sort of in the mix for if the Dodgers need a starter at some point this year to get that call?
Not specifically. I think I've heard a lot of what everyone else has said, just kind of stay ready, go out and, prove that you can be an asset for us at the big league level. So that's what I'm aiming to do. I haven't heard much about what I have to do. I just know that in being a pitcher, you have to pitch well. So that's kind of what my mentality is. And I'll kind of let the cards fall where they may, depending on how this year goes, and kind of just staying healthy and going out there and giving it my all.
Thanks a lot.
Next question is from Daniel Dwyer.
Yeah, Josiah, I wanted to know just what it's been like working with Jamey so far, and maybe some things that you've learned from him or he's helped you with that have kind of advanced you during spring training thus far.
Yeah, he's been awesome, man. I think he's kind of a really integral part of the organization and going to be a really important guy for us AAA pitchers right now, just because of his experience, 10 plus years in the big leagues. And he's seen it all. He's gotten, DFA'd, he's gotten traded, he's gotten, extensions and whatnot. So he's known the ins and outs of the game. So it's been really exciting to just pick his brain and kind of just let him kind of go on his shorter rants about just competing and what he's seen and how it can relate to you where you are right now. So he's an incredible pitching coach, incredible guy to learn from. And I'm really excited to learn from him over these next couple months.
I know, especially within the Dodgers organization, it's kind of an expectation to go in every season thinking that they're going to win it all, given that they are the defending champs. Did you kind of feel like maybe an extra excitement, or not really? I guess, did it feel pretty normal going in to spring training, or do you think there was like an extra excitement given that they are the defending champs, or was it just because you guys actually get to play this year?
Yeah, I think there were kind of two pools of guys. Everyone was kind of happy-go-lucky, and we wanted to get a bigger piece of winning. So that's kind of like guys in my shoes, right, knocking on the door and just getting ready to get that call whenever it may be. But also, you have the guys that were actively on the roster and contributed more than guys like myself, and I'm sure they're, chomping at the bit to get back and win another one, because the team I think is even better this year. But it's just, it's unique to say, kind of being in my shoes, kind of how we look at it. But everyone's chomping at the bit to go get another one, because we know how talented we are. We know that from top to bottom that everyone's going out there, and when everyone's going right, we have the best ball club in baseball. So we're all really excited, and there's no hangover effect or anything like that. Everyone wants that next one and then the one after that.
Awesome. Thanks, Josiah.
Mm-hmm.
Next question from JP Hornstra.
Hey, Josiah, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Travis was just on here, and he kind of compared the atmosphere at the alt site last year to sort of like instructional league. I know sometimes it instructs, if you're a pitcher, you'll have to throw like 20 of one pitch in a row if you're like just working on that one pitch. When you talk about the difference between development versus competing, like, did you have to do something like that? Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, there were definitely certain times in my outings where, I was kind of directed to throw this sort of sequence or start a batter with this sort of mentality, I guess. So in game, that doesn't happen at all. You might game plan. You can game plan as well as anybody, but once you get out there in between those lines and, the umpire says play ball, that kind of goes out the window, just because the game moves so rapidly and situations are ever changing. So at the alternate site, you kind of don't have that aspect of the game just changing on you on the fly. So kind of just understanding that and wanting to get back to game scenarios just helps you adjust to the game again and kind of just roll with the punches, might I say.
Sure. This season, at least, you were able to compete against different teams at the alt site, right?
Yeah, so we played against the Padres pretty much every couple days, and we had a random day where we played against the Rockies AAA squad. But other than that, it was mostly the Padres.
Okay. Remember how many starts you got in?
I want to say I got 6 starts in So they were 6 quality starts. We kind of were just making sure that I got a fair amount of innings in, got my pitch count up so that, we hit the ground running tomorrow or Thursday, sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Take it back to last year. What did you do from the time spring training shut down until you reported to the alternate site at USC?
Yeah, so I stayed in Arizona, actually. So my hometown, there was like a really big outbreak of COVID. So the team officials kind of just said, hey, you just stay back in Arizona. So I stayed in Arizona for that next 2 months or so. I was working out, throwing. So I was doing everything I would have been doing at home, but I was in Arizona. And there were luckily a couple guys that stayed behind as well. And, we were just waking up every morning, working out, throwing. And then we would go back and kind of just enjoy the day. So we just did that until kind of we got further notice about what was going to happen next.
You were all living together too, I take it?
Yeah. So me and a couple guys were in the hotel, the team hotel, but we weren't living together just because of, like COVID, and kind of we were in an unknown time and no one knew what really to do.
Sure. That makes sense. And what is your hometown where they had the big outbreak?
New Rochelle, New York.
Okay. How long did it take before that routine of being at the alt site felt normal and actually became helpful to you as a pitcher?
It truly didn't take that long. I think my first couple outings were a bit rocky just because I was adjusting. We were going, early mornings, and we were at USC, which was a little bit underwhelming. But so it took a second to get used to that. But once I had settled in, I felt fine and kind of just said, hey, this is baseball. This is the best option we have if you're not in the big leagues, because, you can be home right now trying to throw against, high school kids or whatever it is. So I just kind of enjoyed the situation as best as I could, and knew that I was in a good spot.
So you get your work in the morning, you get back to the hotel in the afternoon, you can't leave. How did you pass all that time?
It was tough. Honestly, I'd get back and I'd be exhausted. So I'd normally just take a nap, and then the Dodgers would come on. So I would watch the Dodgers around, I think their games would be at 6. So I'd watch the Dodgers. That'd take me to around 9. And by that time, I'm pretty tired, and I'd go to sleep and kind of just repeat. So that was the routine for about the whole time until, I joined the team in the playoff bubble.
Can you understand the temptation, I guess, to break the protocol given that environment for 2-3 months?
Yeah. It's definitely temptations, but it's not like there was much to do. Because we're at the ballpark, and when you get home, you're exhausted. So I understood it, but I wouldn't, try and break that just because of a one night thrill or anything like that, just because there wasn't anything to do.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, Josiah, and congrats on getting the opening day start.
Thank you.
Back to Jacob Unruh.
Hey, Josiah, I kind of wanted to ask your perspective on how far you've come since high school. I was reading you weren't recruited very, very heavily out of high school, and you did a lot of work to get where you're at. Can you kind of put that in perspective?
Yeah, man, it's really hard to put in words just because of, my 4 or 5 year, just the last 4 or 5 years, going from not being recruited and going to a Division II school, which was my only offer, and kind of just having my career turn upside down there, going from, playing position full time to pitching full time in my last year there. So it definitely at times doesn't feel real, just because it's not normal to have this sort of track over the last 4 or 5 years. But, I'm really blessed to, be in the shoes I'm in now, to be able to, say that I'm going to be one of the next guys up there with the Dodgers as long as things go well and I stay healthy. So it truly doesn't feel real, and it's really hard to put into words, but every day I go out there, I'm just blessed to be able to do this and know that, when I entered college or even when I was a high school senior, that this wasn't even a thought in my mind. So that kind of just puts it all into perspective.
I was going to ask you. You kind of answered there. How far did the big leagues feel at that point, and then when did it start getting on your mind that you could get to this level in college?
It truly didn't feel realistic at all. My freshman year on the mound was a bit rocky. I think I had around a 13 ERA. And then that summer, kind of a light bulb just went off and started pitching a lot better. And then my sophomore year, I had a sub-1 or something crazy. So that's when I kind of had a feeling that I could do this at the next level, because the sophomore year in college and then performing out in the Cape. But until you do it like day in, day out in terms of, rookie ball or even A ball, it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't really manifest that you can do it until, you actually do it. So it took me until, I want to say, midway through, my 2 months in advanced day Rancho, where I was like, hell yeah, I can see myself in the big leagues. And then I shortly thereafter got called to Double-A, but it didn't set in until about 3 or 4 months in.
Is there a coach at your college that kind of helped pave this way?
Yeah, so the head coach over there, Scott Cassidy, he pitched in the big leagues for a couple seasons. He was kind of the guy that helped me transition from shortstop to pitching, and just the mentality of things and learning new pitches and kind of guiding me the best he could throughout the draft process and making sure I was healthy and those sort of things. So he was my right-hand man leading up to the draft.
Awesome. Thanks, Josiah, and good luck this season.
Thank you.